Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Study Melbourne Future Founders Venture Scholarships online information session. So this is the place to be if you want to learn about the venture scholarships and particularly how to apply and what benefits you get from the scholarships. They're the sorts of things we're going to cover today. My name is Simone Edwards. I am the Marketing and Communications Advisor for StartSpace. And we'll get going on the session. But before we start talking about the scholarships in more detail, I'd like to read out an acknowledgement of country. State Library Victoria and Study Melbourne acknowledge the traditional lands of all the Victorian Aboriginal clans and their cultural practices and knowledge systems. State Library Victoria recognises that we hold traditional cultural knowledge belonging to Indigenous communities in Victoria and around the country. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, who have handed down these systems of practice to each new generation for millennia. And today I am broadcasting to you all from Wurundjeri country. So welcome everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. In this session, what I plan to cover is an overview of the scholarships. So like I just mentioned, what's included in the program, what are the benefits, and then who can apply for it, who's eligible, can teams apply, what are the judges looking for in the judging criteria, and then what's the timeline for the applications and the program. So we'll cover all of that. And once I've got through this short presentation, I will leave time for a Q&A section. So you'll be able to ask questions, anything you'd like to ask about your application specifically or about the program. And I'll do my best to answer as many as I can in this session. We will be running till about 12:30, and as I mentioned, this session is being recorded, so I will be sending out a link to you all after the recording is ready so that you can look back on the information shared today. But as we go along, if you do have questions, feel free to add them into the chat as we go, because then we can start addressing them as soon as we get to the Q&A section. So anything you think of, just type it in the chat, and then we're ready to answer them when we get there. So before we jump into the scholarship details, I just wanted to give a big thanks and acknowledgement to Study Melbourne, who are our partners on the Venture Scholarship Program. So together we've been running this program for 5 years, which is amazing, and it includes a festival every year and some road shows, and we've done boot camps in the past and lots of really great programming for international students, which we're really excited about. And this is our 4th year of presenting the Venture Scholarships. So big thanks to Study Melbourne, our partners, making this possible. Okay, here we go about the scholarships. So starting with the basic details. So these venture scholarships are designed for current and former international students, and that includes any international students that are up to 5 years post their graduation. So at the time of applying, and the applications close on the 2nd of March, if you're within 5 years of graduating and you're a current or former international student, and you're a founder or leader of a new business venture, then you'll be eligible to apply for these scholarships. We have 5 scholarship programs on offer, and each program, it will run for 12 weeks this year. And the applications we will accept can be from individual founders, or you can apply with teams of 2 or teams of 3. And I'll go into more detail about that in a moment. So as we mentioned, you can apply as an individual founder or leader of a startup, or teams of 2 or 3. So the basic criteria for someone applying for these scholarships, you need to be a current or former international student, up to 5 years post-graduation. You need to be a founder or co-founder of an early stage business. And what we mean by that is your business is quite new, you're just getting it off the ground, you're pre-seed funding, and in the terms and conditions, you can see a bit more information about that. You will need to be 18 years or older to apply, and you need to have a valid Australian visa that covers you to be here in Australia for the duration of the program. So the program's running from the 1st of April until the 24th of June. And those visas, some examples are the student visa, which is subclass 500. That's a specific visa terminology, or the temporary graduate visa, which is a subclass 485. If you have those visas or have been on those or something similar that covers you to be here, then you'll be eligible. If you are looking to apply for it as a team of two, perhaps you and your co-founder, or a team of three, then one of your teammates can be a national student. So if you're a team of two, then one of you needs to be a current or former international student, and the other can be also an international student or a national student. And as a team of three, you can have two international students in your team and then one national student if that's what your team is made up of. And we often get the question, well, what if we're a team of five? Can we still apply? Absolutely. If your business has five, leaders within it, your business, you can still apply for the scholarships, but unfortunately, we can only have three of your team members involved in the scholarship program. So between you, you can decide who which three team members can end up on the application. And then the scholarship itself, so the benefits, what do you get out of this scholarship? So as I mentioned, it's running from 12 weeks and it starts on the 1st of April and runs right through to the 24th of June. And within that 12 weeks, you get some bespoke mentoring and coaching for your business. And so that takes sort of two forms. You get one-on-one coaching with a mentor that we match you with. But you also attend fortnightly, we call them WIP meetings, work in progress meetings, where you get to meet up with the other scholars and you get a session run by one of the mentors each fortnight on a particular general topic that's useful to everybody. And so that just helps your development through the program as well. You get access to StartSpace Loft membership. So StartSpace is a co-working space and community for new business founders, and we offer free membership. And as part of the scholarship program, you get access to our Loft paid co-working space. So you have a designated place to come and work through your scholarship program, and that's where you'll meet to have your fortnightly meetings. You actually get 10,000 Australian dollars of equity-free seed funding for your business as part of this scholarship. So that's a really big perk. And it's up to you how you use that going towards building your business. We also include a venture crawl. So this is a day where, as a scholarship cohort, you get to go around and meet founders from successful startup businesses in Melbourne. So you get to see people who have gone ahead and done that before you and hear from them and their experience. And then you get to ask them questions as well. So it's a really fun day out where you also get to meet the other members of the cohort, the other founders that are going through the same program as you. So it's a really fun day. And then at the end of the 12 weeks, we have a demo day. So that is where you and your team get to showcase your business and the progress that you've made over that time. So there's a lot of benefits, a lot of good progress that you can make through this scholarship program. The selection criteria. So before we were talking about eligibility and who is able to apply for this scholarship. This selection criteria is what the judges use to determine who should be awarded a scholarship. And there's 5 of this key criteria. The first one is about the problem and solution. And so this is sort of asking you, what is the problem you're solving with your new business venture? Who are your audience or your customers? And how are you solving that problem for them? How is it unique? That sort of thing. So when you're filling out your application form, you want to keep that in mind when you're answering the questions asked and presenting your business. The criteria number 2 is all about impact. So what that means is the impact that this scholarship is going to have on your business journey and business direction. So what we're asking you to detail there is, how are the benefits of this scholarship going to help you? How are you going to use the mentoring and coaching, and what sort of things are you looking to focus on to help you in those next steps on your business? How are you going to use the seed funding for your business? What are the things you're going to put that money towards, and how is that going to help your business? How is the co-working space going to be useful to you? It's those sorts of things. The third criteria is about success to date and your execution plan. So this is sort of looking at, what have you achieved so far and what goals have you set to achieve next. So this is for any early stage business, and different businesses are at different parts of their early stage. So it's not so much about how far along you are, but it certainly is about you being able to tell us, what did you set out to do, and how many of those milestones have you ticked off so far? And then what are you planning to do next, so that we can see there's clear progression and a bit of momentum going through your business journey. In terms of criteria number 4, team and fit, that is all about you telling us about your team, whether you're a solo founder or a team of 2 or 3, or even more than that. It's about who is part of your team and what did they bring to the table in terms of creating this business, solving this problem for your customers or for your audience. How are you uniquely qualified for working on this business, or what skills or experience and knowledge do you have that's going to be relevant to this? And then number 5 is attitude and commitment. So this is asking you to help us understand, can you commit to this program? So in the terms and conditions, there's certain dates that you absolutely need to be available and part of the program in person. I'll go through a few of those in a moment. So it's criteria such as that, but also across this 12-week program, you need to be able to have time available to work on your business and progress it. So you need to be able to demonstrate that you've got a chunk of time each week, for example, where you can dedicate to advancing your business through this program. There's no set amount of time that is, perfect, and everyone is coming at this from a different place. Many of you will still be studying and building your business at the same time, so we fully understand that. Some of you will be studying and working, or working and looking to build your business, so we understand you'll have other commitments, and that's fine. So it's just letting us know how you're going to work around those other commitments and make sure that you're able to dedicate time to your business and to this program specifically. How to apply? So hopefully pretty simple, but let us know if it's not. Just head to the website and read all about the scholarship. And in particular, I've mentioned the terms and conditions a few times. I probably will a few more times before the end of this session. But they're really important just so you understand all the criteria for applying, and for, if you're awarded a scholarship, what you need to be able to commit to. And then head to the application form, and we recommend that you start reading through it and understanding some of the questions that you'll need to answer in your application. And we've presented it in a way where you can see some of the more detailed questions first. And so we then recommend that you draft your answers to those questions in a separate document. When you go through this form, unfortunately, you're unable to save your answers as you go along. So, but you can access the form as many times as you like. You can even apply multiple times if you hit submit and you haven't answered all the questions the way you wanted to. You can reapply, that's no problem. But we do just recommend that you have everything drafted somewhere else in another document so that you can easily copy and paste your answers when you're happy with them and when you're ready to actually submit your application. And then you just need to apply before 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, the 2nd of March. Which brings me nicely into the timeline. So we do not accept any applications that are late. So they really do have to be submitted and timestamped when they're submitted before 11:59 on the 2nd of March. So you've got just over a week. You've got this weekend and all of next week and next weekend to work on your application and get it in, which is great. And then once we've received all of those, we'll review them and the judges will do their work on the selection. And you will hear back from us at the very latest 5 p.m. on Friday, the 21st of March. So you'll get an update on your application by that time. And as I mentioned, the scholarship program itself runs for 12 weeks, starting from the 1st of April right through to the 24th of June. So it's a good idea to have a look at your calendars and what's coming up in that time, just to make sure that you've got the time to commit to the program. Just wanted to mention a couple of other resources. So these have come up recently and they're great resources for international students or for anyone who's an entrepreneur, anyone who's interested in entrepreneurship or just wants to find out more. So the first one is a program for Melbourne migrapreneurs, which is a really fun term. Tricky to say. It's an 8-week program for international students who are looking to, or migrants who are looking to start a new business in Melbourne. It's a free program and it runs from March to May. I'm mentioning this in particular because it does cross over with the scholarship program that we're talking about today. This program itself is run by City of Melbourne and Catalyzer. But there is no reason you can't apply for both. And if you were successful in both, it would be fine to do both in parallel. So I just wanted to make that clear in case you'd heard about that program already, or if you haven't, no reason why you couldn't apply to both. So just head to the website there to find out more about that one. And yesterday, there was a launch of a new podcast, which is called Making It in Melbourne. And it's all about the stories of migrant entrepreneurs in Melbourne. There's 5 episodes in the first series about 5 different entrepreneurs. They're really exciting. And so it's just a great little motivation booster. I listened to one of them this morning. It was really fun. So yeah, just recommend that. It's just come out and it was just launched yesterday. So now we are at the part where we can run through some question and answers. So we'll start answering your questions for you and see how many we can get through. So my colleague Shirin is going to help me work through the questions. Hi, Shirin.
Hello, everyone. So we have the first question from Sonia, and Sonia is asking, if your business does not have yet a bank account, how is the scholarship paid?
Oh, that's a very good and detailed question. Thanks, Sonia. So if your business does not yet have a bank account, the primary applicant on the scholarship will need to have an Australian an Australian bank account that we can pay the scholarship funds into. So I'll just add to that. I mentioned a primary applicant. So earlier in this session, when I mentioned you can apply as an individual founder or a team of 2 or 3, there's always one designated primary applicant. So the person that will take responsibility for the scholarship and will be the main point of contact for the scholarship as well. So that person should be someone that has an Australian bank account that we can pay the scholarship funds into, and then the leader of this scholarship team. And then you can also have up to 2 other people apply with you as co-applicants. Thanks for that. And then please do keep the questions coming.
Chun Wei asked the question, when you are talking about national students in eligibility section, do you refer to domestic students? Can you
I
highlight again
do.
who is literally eligible?
Yeah, great question. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. That was probably an awkward way to describe it. So yes, I do mean domestic students. So if you're a team of 2, the other co-applicant can be a domestic student, either current student or up to 5 years post-graduation. So those boundaries still apply. Or if you're a team of 3, 2 of the 3 can be current or former international students, and the third person can be a domestic student. So that's a student that was born here or not classified as an international student, but still needs to have gone through education within Victoria. So I hope that clears that up a little bit. Just while we're waiting for some other questions, I'll run through a few other bits of details that might be helpful to you. Earlier, I mentioned some key dates that you need to be available for as part of the scholarship program if you are offered a scholarship. The first one is Tuesday, the 1st of April. So that's when the scholarship program kicks off, and that's when you come in and you meet all of the mentors and you meet the rest of the cohort or the other founders going through the program with you. So it's really important that you're available in person that day for that kickoff. The next one is the venture crawl. So we don't want you to miss out on any of the amazing opportunities to meet other founders and hear about their businesses. That is happening on Thursday, the 10th of April. Sorry, Thursday, the 10th of April, the venture crawl. The third one is the demo day, which is at the end of the program where you present your business back to your mentors, to your friends, to the rest of your team, to the wider cohort and other people who are invited guests. So that's Tuesday, the 24th of June. So you'll need to be available for that. And then I mentioned that you get mentoring opportunities in group sessions every fortnight throughout the program. So if you head to the terms and conditions, you'll see the specific dates, but they basically fall on Tuesday every fortnight throughout the program, starting from the 1st of April.
We have another question from Xuan about the eligibility criteria.
Great.
And Xuan is asking, if the primary applicant is a current international student and the co-applicant is a previous international student in New Zealand who moved to Melbourne for a few years, is this eligible for application? Yes.
Oh, well, yes, it sounds like they would be. Yeah. Moved to Melbourne for a few years. I assume as long as they're still here in Melbourne, that sounds like that would be okay. Yes.
Thank you, Simone. Yes, still here. Shan just
Oh,
confirmed.
great. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Nari asked the question, what is the most important criteria for a judge to consider an applicant as a scholar?
Oh, that's a really good question. The interesting thing about the selection criteria is that they're all weighted the same. So each of the five selection criteria that I went through earlier, they're all weighted at 20% of the overall mark that you get when the judges are reviewing your application. So in that sense, you need to apply the same amount of, I guess, care and detail to cover each of those five criteria areas. But what I would suggest is read through the questions in the application form and look at the word count as well. And then, as I mentioned before, draft your questions and see if you can very succinctly sort of answer the question that's being asked, but keeping in mind the criteria that it relates to. So yeah, it's just really important to get across sort of things like what is the unique proposition of your business, who's your audience, who's it for, what problem are you solving, what traction have you made, what sort of progress, all those key things. And what I didn't mention before is there is actually it's an optional submission that you can include in your application. Aside from answering the questions, which are all mandatory, you are able to support your application with either a short video, which is up to 3 minutes long, or just presentation slides in a PDF format, and we'll accept up to 10 slides. So you're able to add those to your application and help support covering some of those key selection criteria. but it is optional. So you do not have to do that. Your application will still be judged against all the criteria if you do not supply a video or a PDF with slides. So that's entirely up to you. But one tip I would give you, if you do decide to do a video or slides, definitely keep it to the 3 minutes and the 10 slides. But also make sure that the link you share to access that video or those slides can be accessed by anyone. So make sure you test the link before you include it in your application, just to make sure that the judges can access that information, because they won't be able to include it in their review if they're not able to access it.
And sorry, everyone, I saw some raised hands. If you could please type your question into the chat, that would be fantastic. Awesome. Thanks, JR, for your question. The question is, does the startup need to be officially registered, or is it okay if it's just in the planning phase?
Oh, that's a great question. We don't ask for you to submit any ABN or business registration of any type in the application form. So no, we don't ask for you to do that. So that's fine. If it's still in that early planning stage, then you can still apply and just supply as much detail about the business and what progress you've made so far as you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Valerie shared another question. Her question is about the mandatory events. Do all members of the program need to attend the events listed? So the key dates, Simone, you mentioned. And what if some of the days, some team members are not able to make it?
Yeah, great question. And we understand things are tricky to balance through a program like this. Life goes on around the program. To answer the question specifically, so the primary applicant needs to be in person at all of the key dates. So the three main events and the fortnightly meetings. And then co-applicants should try their best to be available at every in-person event or meeting that's held throughout the program. But we understand that sometimes that's not possible. So I would suggest that if you're awarded a scholarship and we give you a call, that can be discussed at that point. Sometimes there's opportunities to join via an online meeting. We haven't worked out some of those details yet, certainly not at the three main ones, but at those fortnightly meetings, sometimes, yeah, we can be a bit flexible about those. So I hope that helps answer. So the primary applicant should be at all of the in-person events and meetings, and then the co-applicants should do their best to be present at as many of those as possible.
Amazing. Sonia has a question. Can the organization be a non-profit organization?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to hear from non-profit organizations. Yep, that would be great. And just adding to that, there's no restriction on the industry or the type of business that it is, and business non-for-profit, it is quite open. So yeah, there's no restriction in that sense.
We have another question from Shen Xiao, and the question is if we know already how long the events in the mandatory dates go for. So how long is, for example, the kickoff day, and how long is the venture crawl?
Oh, great question. We don't have all of those details published yet. We have the dates, but not the times published as yet. So I would and we are working towards publishing those as soon as we possibly can. So hopefully we can get those published next week. But what I would suggest is don't let that stop you from applying. Apply, give it your best shot, and then we can address those concerns, if you're awarded a scholarship, and we'll try and be as accommodating as possible. One of the things we are looking to achieve here is that make sure that the scholars that are awarded this program are able to make the most of it. That's sort of, where this is coming from. So yeah, definitely apply. Don't let it stop you. And we'll try and get those details about timings and things updated as soon as we can. Great. Well, is there any one last question, Shirin, or we'll have to wrap up in a moment? I've just realized the time.
No, we don't have any further questions.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for your questions. Hopefully I've given you some great answers. I will update the FAQs on the scholarship website with answers to the questions that were raised here, and any others that I can think of as well. So check out the website. I'll send you a link to the recording by Monday, if not before, so you can review this again. And just to follow up the key takeaways, you've heard it too many times, but please do read the terms and conditions of the scholarship and apply anyway. If in doubt, just apply. You just never know, and it's such a great experience to learn from a process like this. Don't forget to draft all of your answers for the application in a separate document, just so you've got them there and you can copy and paste when you're ready to finalize everything. Make sure any links you have to videos or presentations, if you decide to do those, and they are optional. Make sure those links work before you submit your application. If you submit it once and it's not correct, you can resubmit. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure your application is in by 11:59 on Sunday, the 2nd of March, and then you'll hear back from us by Friday, the 21st of March. Any other questions you have, just reach out to us, especially at StartSpace at slv.vic.gov.au. And good luck to all of you. I wish you the best, and please do apply. It's a great experience. And thanks for joining us today.